Good day, people of YouTube. What's going on? The name is AK, and I'm one of the members of the PC Gaming Enthusiast team. And today we're going to be taking another look at Pure Farming 2018. And I already uploaded my first impressions video, and I've played a little bit of the game since then. And today we're going to be jumping into the challenge mode of the game. And basically what this challenge mode is, it's a series of like missions that allow you to play the game without investing too much time into it. So if you have a limited amount of time but you want to get some gaming done, you can just jump right into the challenge mode, and what that allows you to do is just get some gameplay done without, like I said, investing too much time into it. Because if you know, with most simulators, it's a very time-consuming process. So this challenge mode is very nice for gamers who have a limited amount of time but still want to just get a session in, which is great. And so today we're going to be taking a look at the very first challenge. This takes place on the Montana map, and it has you harvesting. Just simply harvesting, that's all it is. But it gives us a good excuse to take a look at the mechanics once again in comparison to Farming Simulator from Giant Software. Now, I have played through this challenge a little bit. I didn't complete it, but I did play through the challenge a little bit just to get my bearings, and I honestly have to say the differences I'm noticing between this and the original Farming Simulator. I keep saying the original Farming Simulator. You know what I mean. The one from Giant Software. Like, the difference is so nice because the gameplay concept is basically the same, right? Like, this plays very similarly to that of the original Farming Simulator. But like I said in my last video, I really think Ice Flames, and that's the development studio behind this game, I really think Ice Flames improved upon Giant's formula a lot. And what I mean by that is, like the quality, for instance. The quality of most things is very nice in this game. Like, if you're noticing, like, the fancy lighting effects that's happening on our combine here, like, you can see the shine from the sunlight. Like, you have that effect in Farming Simulator, but it's not as pronounced. So, for instance, the graphics are much improved. Like, the animations, there's a lot more stuff going on in the world in terms of animations. The detail of the environment is pretty nice. And not to mention the detail of the actual machinery is amazing. Like, I totally lost my mind when, in my last video, when I looked inside the interior of the pickup truck, because, like, the stitching, you could see the stitching in the seat. Like, it's that quality that's really impressing me. But just from a total gameplay perspective, like, this is fundamentally about the same thing as the OG Farming Simulator, but it feels a little bit more refined. Like, the physics don't seem to be as floaty as they are in Farming Simulator. So, and that's one of the weakest points I think the Farming Simulator has, is that with it being a simulator, right, you want it to be as realistic as possible. But with that being the case, it's like certain things can easily just take you out of the immersion. And I find that happening with Farming Simulator, where I would be trying to make it as realistic as possible, and the next thing I know, I'm launching myself off of a cliff with no repercussions in a tractor carrying a trailer full of hay. And it's like, sometimes you can do those absurd things, and then it reminds you that at the end of the day, yes, it's a simulator, but at the same time, it's still a game. And I feel like with simulators, obviously it's not going to be a one-to-one recreation of the real world, but at the same time, I do like it when simulators really do try and ground themselves in realism, where they really more or less just force you to play by a realistic set of rules. Like, even though it's a game, it takes itself seriously. And I think that's what Pure Farming is doing, where the way it feels, it's not perfect, but it does feel a little bit more refined. It does feel a little bit more realistic, arguably a little bit more of a simulator than Farming Simulator, which is, I know it's weird to say, but I honestly do feel like that, at least right now. I still haven't played the game much. I'm still basically forming my overall impression with this, and the game still doesn't come out for a month, so by that time, when I'm doing my full review of the game right before launch, By that time, I should have a much clearer opinion, but for now, I'm really happy with what Ice Flames has produced here. Like, I feel like I'm playing Farming Simulator just incredibly souped up. That's, to me, how this feels. Like, there's so little difference in terms of the formula. It's just the same formula, but better. That's basically what it is. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I have 4 fields on this farm. And this challenge is, you may have noticed in the top right corner, a timer is slowly counting down. And when the timer runs out, I'm supposed to have harvested at least 64% of crops from 4 different fields that I have on this farm. So I'm just gonna stop the harvester here. And we are going to go to the quick select menu for the vehicles. Like, one of the things I really like about Pure Farming 2018 compared to Farming Simulator, it has to be the UI. Like, the UI here is so slick, it's so modern. Like, it's very, very nice. Like, even that mini-map down to the bottom left, like, it's so sleek, and it changes with you. Like, as you may have noticed that as I was harvesting that field, like, the animation of the field actually updated as I was harvesting the field to show a difference. Like, it's just little things like that. Little refinements that really make this feel like a much more quality experience than the OG Farming Simulator. And that's exactly what I was hoping for. Like, I was hoping, like, if they were going to copy Farming Simulator, they would copy it well. And they meaning Ice Flames, has copied it very well. Alright, so that looks about even. Gonna jump into our harvester here. It's making this weird buzzing sound. I'm not exactly sure why. But anyway. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to move on to that other field, because it wants me to get at least 64%. That's the main objective. And the bonus objective is I think 95% from all 4 of these fields. Right, so you can take a good look at the combine here. And again, like I said in my last video, all of these vehicles are licensed vehicles, so these are like actual real-world farming machinery that we have here. And like I said, the modeling is really, really nice. Even if I jump into the cab, which I'm going to do as soon as I start harvesting here. This is field number 3. Just going to line up and turn the harvester on. Put it in work mode. Lower it. It's a little bit more steps than in the OG Farming Simulator. So let's just jump into the interior here. And, like, again, the graphics do look a lot better. Like, watch this, and then watch my video, which I did on my own channel, of Farming Simulator 17, the Platinum expansion, with Estancia La Pacho. Like, as soon as you're done watching this video, I want you to go and watch that preview I did of Estancia La Pacho before it released. And that's an official map from Giants. It's their latest DLC, their latest expansion DLC. And I was really impressed by that, especially because with Estancia La Pacho there was a lot more color to that map, and it even allowed you to go into the interior of your mansion, because apparently our farmers somehow inherited a very, very nice mansion somewhere in South America. So that's what happened there. And I was really blown away by that because it looked visually stunning. Like, that was the best. It's the best looking official map. There are some modded maps which do look really, really good, but they're still limited by that engine that Farming Simulator uses, which seems to be Giant's in-house engine. Now, I'm not exactly sure which engine Pure Farming 2018 is using, but it is leaps and bounds more impressive than the engine that Farming Simulator 17 is using. And like I said, just watch one. As soon as you're done with this video, watch that video. Play them side by side if you want to. Just mute them and just look at them side by side. If you're on a computer, you can do the side by side view, and you'll see like the visual difference is amazing. And I brought this up in my last video that I actually did a feature article over at Gaming Enthusiast, PCGameEnthusiast.net, and one of the points I brought up in that article, because the article itself was called Flawed But Popular Simulators, and this particular one was all about Farming Simulator 17, where I highlighted the things that I'm not so happy about when it comes to that game. And one of the things I brought up was the graphics. I figured that for a game that was released in 2016, it looked kind of underwhelming. Like, it didn't look bad, it just looked kind of basic. And so when I look at this, Pure Farming 2018, like, it's not the most visually stunning game ever, but there's so much more going on here. Like, this looks like a modern simulator. I'm genuinely liking the look of this game. So it's just stuff like that, you know? It's stuff like that. Now, I know I'm kind of butchering this field. Trust me, you probably noticed it. I realize I'm totally butchering this field. Don't worry, you don't have to bring it up. Do not leave it in the comments. I can see I'm doing a bad job here, but I'm just talking as I'm playing. And usually when I'm playing this, I'm not talking, but I'm making a video, so my focus isn't as precise as it could be. But as I'm talking and just observing what I'm doing, it's like all these little things I'm noticing compared to, again, because I'm just gonna keep comparing it to Farming Simulator, because again, this is a imitation of Farming Simulator, but it's a really good imitation, and our storage is full. Okay, but I'm just really liking how slick the UI is. Like, it is really modern, really attractive. I like that. Just gonna back up here and switch over to our tractor. Now, we only really have these two vehicles for this whole scenario, because again, this is challenge mode, this is not free play mode. Of course, in free play mode, you can own as much vehicles as you can afford. So you can have an army of tractors and an army of combines and whatnot. But for this scenario, and I have to actually find, oh yes, so back over here. But yeah, for this scenario, we just have this one tractor, this Zetor Fortera 150, and our combine harvester. So if you happen to be a Farming Simulators fan, I want you to tell me, like, as you observe this gameplay, how does it look to you compared to that of the OG Farming Simulator? That of course, I keep referring to Farming Simulator 17. When I say OG Farming Simulator, I'm not actually referring to, like, the actual very first Farming Simulator. I'm talking about Farming Simulator 17. Alright. Gonna position this over here. And jump in here. How did I? But I do like how, like, you know, these are just such peaceful games compared to the majority of video games these days. Like, video games, of course, have a very strong reputation for being incredibly violent and whatnot. So when you have, like, 90% of games like that, with blood and gore and violence, it makes it seem like, you know, every video game is like that, but then you come across games like this and everything is just so peaceful. I did not turn on the harvester, but like, things are just so peaceful. It's like, this is all about virtual farming. You're just driving around in these big old virtual farming machines, and there's nothing actually fun about this. Like, compared to a quote-unquote normal game, there's nothing actually fun about this. But yet, these series, like the OG Farming Simulator series, I think Farming Simulator 17, when it launched back in 2016, I forgot exactly how fast it sold, but I know it hit 1 million units very quickly. I forgot exactly how quickly it hit that goal, but it hit that milestone very quickly, selling over 1 million units. So obviously, despite simulators not being the most thrilling thing ever, I knew that was going to happen. But despite simulators not being the most thrilling thing ever, they obviously still have a following. I just find that so amazing. Alright, so before I move on to the next field, I'm just going to dump what I have here back into the trailer. I'm gonna move over to the next field now. I'm just trying to get the fields, because again, this is a time limit, so I'm just trying to get the fields. I'm not gonna fully complete all of them, because I don't have to. But I'm just trying to at least put some work on all of them, and then, depending on how much time I have left, I'm gonna run back and finish up whatever I can afterwards. So I'm looking at my mini-map here. It's pointing over to this direction. Now, I've noticed in challenge mode that you can hire virtual workers, so like usually what I do when I'm harvesting a field is when I have just finished filling up a trailer, I would just set the harvester to a virtual worker to continue harvesting while I go ahead, take that trailer and go and dump the load into the silo. So I can't do that here in challenge mode. It's literally all up to you. Okay, yeah, I was just making sure this was my field. This is a bigger field than the others. So since I can't hire a virtual worker right now, I'm just gonna drop that here quickly. Okay, we have the physics system showing its face just now because I got stuck. I could move for a second. Pretty sure the physics system was responsible for that, which is good. That wasn't a complaint just now. Alright, so I'm just going to quickly deliver this to our silo here. Then we're going to jump back over to the harvester. Alright. So again, a very similar formula to that of Farming Simulator, but more refined. Like, look at the animation of the grain falling into the chute there. Like, that looks really pleasing. Looks really nice. It's not flat and boring like it is in Farming Simulator. Like, that was still a somewhat flat texture, but there were some particle effects going on there. The level of detail of the environment, I do enjoy. Like, I'm not playing at the highest settings right now. I'm running at 900p. Just for the sake of trying to keep the frame rate above 30 the majority of the time. But some of these graphical settings are on high right now. I think I only have shadow set to medium. So yeah, it's just the visual quality is just very, very nice. I'm really enjoying that. Graphics aren't everything, of course. But for simulators, it's like, because simulators try so hard to be realistic, it's like they all have that realistic look to them. You look at any simulator, even when you go back to like the early 90s, all games that consider themselves to be a simulator had that realistic look to them. And of course at the time they look amazing. You go back now, it looks absolutely ugly, but they all have that realistic look to them. And it's a good thing and a bad thing, because like when it's actually top of the line for its time, it looks amazing. Of course eventually it does look worse, and that's just the thing. These simulators, they age so poorly because they try and be so realistic that when big advancements are made, you go back to the older ones and it's like, wow, how was I impressed by that? You know? Like, go back and look at the actual original Farming Simulator. Like, I literally mean the first Farming Simulator. From, I think it was released back in 2008. Like, compared to what we have now, that's roughly 10 years. I forgot exactly which month it came out, because we're still in the beginning of 2018. So, roughly 10 years. Not a full, but roughly 10 years. It's amazing how far we've come since then. But as I'm playing Pure Farming 2018, and I keep going back to Farming Simulator 17 in my head, like, I really, really am hoping that Giants looks at this. And when I say this, I'm not talking about this video. But if they look at this video, that would be pretty cool too. But I'm hoping that as Giants looks at Pure Farming 2018, I hope they get nervous. I hope they get nervous and they realize that they finally do have some real competition. And I hope that it drives them to do better. Like I mentioned that in my last video, my last Pure Farming video. I hope that seeing this game puts the fire underneath Giant Software's feet to really improve and really do a much better job. I want to see them improve. And it's not that Farming Simulator is bad. It's not bad at all. I love that game. I've put over 100 hours into that game on PC, and I've put a few dozen hours into it on Nintendo Switch because I had to do the review for the Nintendo Switch version over at Nintendo Enthusiast. But I've spent so much time with that game, and it's like, I love it. But now coming and playing this, it's really just reinforced the flaws that I already realized were there. But now that I'm actually have the chance to play something better, because there are other farming simulators, there are other titles in this genre, but the majority of them have been trash. They've either been okay, or they've just been trash. Not worth your time. That's why Farming Simulator has done so well, because it's had no competition. That's why it's become so popular, because it was the best in its genre. And even though that there were other options, they were all garbage compared to it. So it's like, why play anything else when Farming Simulator is the best? But now that it has some real competition, I hope that drives Giant Software to really pull up their socks and do a little bit more, because now they can't relax. And that's the thing about being in the lead, is that you may feel like it's okay to relax, but the minute you start relaxing, that's when you start messing up. You know, it's the whole tortoise and the hare story. If you don't know that story, it's where the tortoise and the hare decided to have a race. And of course the tortoise, which is a turtle, is very slow. A hare, which is a rabbit, is very fast. And so these two creatures are having a race, and clearly the hare runs leaps and bounds ahead of the tortoise. And he comes so far ahead that he ends up thinking, yeah, it's okay if I just take a break. I'm gonna wait for the tortoise to catch up, and then I'll beat him right in his face. I won't leave him behind. I want to beat him right in his face, so let me take a break. So he takes a break, but he ends up taking a break a little bit too long, and the tortoise is getting near to the finish line, so the hare quickly tries to catch up, but he slept too long, and the tortoise managed to cross the finish line. Moral of the story is that when you're in the lead, don't get cocky, and don't think that you're untouchable, because that will be your biggest downfall. Like, even if you are far ahead, it doesn't mean that nothing is gonna happen to you. And I think Giants may have gotten in that groove. Again, they haven't been doing a bad job. It's just that I know that they could do better, especially with all the popularity that they now have from this series having been running so long. Like I said, 10 years. And getting all these sales. Again, Farming Simulator 17 sold 1 million units in just a few weeks. So when you have all that prestige, I could see how it gets to the head, but at the same time, I would hope that they would take all that prestige and turn it into effort, because clearly that prestige is making them money. You wouldn't be doing the same thing for 10 years if it wasn't making you a lot of money, especially since creating a game is expensive. So I would hope that seeing Pure Farming 2018 would really, really inspire them to put their best foot forward. But again, yeah, this is an imitation, but it's a very good imitation. Like they say, imitation is the best form of flattery. So I hope Giants feels flattered and threatened all at the same time. Haha. And I think that would be a good thing, because like if we could turn this into a regular thing, that'd be great. And when I say regular thing, I mean like how we have Pure Farming 2018, and we're probably gonna have Farming Simulator 19 later this year. It's actually been confirmed, if you didn't know, but it's been confirmed, so it is coming. It's just a matter of when will it be coming. I would assume it would be coming this year. So with that being the case, I'm hoping that maybe we could turn this into like a biannual thing, like okay, we get Pure Farming 2018 and Farming Sim 19 this year, and then maybe in 2020, yeah, 2020, that would be 2 years from now, biannual, we could have Farming Simulator, probably Farming Simulator 21, since they tend to do it with a big release one year and then a small release the next. Like Farming Simulator 18 came out last year, but it's only on Vita, 3DS, and mobile devices. So the next release after Farming Simulator 19, the next big release will probably be Farming Simulator 21. So in 2020 we'll have Farming Simulator 21 and maybe Pure Farming 19 or even Pure Farming 20 or 2021 just to spite them. I don't know. But if we could turn this into like a real ongoing competition, that'd be great, because both teams will be working hard to try and outdo each other. Because since they'll be offering what is essentially the same thing, it's going to be a matter of who can convince the most farming sim fans, to buy their game. And that's really what's going to happen this year too. If Pure Farming 19 does release this year, which I expect it to, it's going to be a matter of which of these two games are going to sell better. Pure Farming 2018 is going to have the advantage from a release perspective because it releases in March. I don't know, Farming Sim 19 might not come out until maybe late this year. Just like how Farming Sim 17 came out, I think around October or November of 2016. So yeah, Pure Farming 2018 is going to have the advantage from a release time perspective, but we'll see who wins. Like, who's going to win this year, the newcomer or the old-timer? Because the newcomer, like I said, is giving the old-timer a real run for his money. And sometimes that's what ends up happening in a lot of different industries, where you have the old-timer that everyone loves, but he's clearly getting old and his flaws, his cracks are starting to show. So then the rookie comes in out of nowhere and just steals his thunder, and suddenly everyone loves the rookie. So I wonder if that's what's going to happen here. Because it could. I mean, Farming Sim has built a very substantial fan base, don't get me wrong, but that doesn't, again, like with the tortoise and the hare story, that doesn't mean it's invincible. Yeah, one thing is for sure, I'm definitely enjoying the physics of this game. Like, I can really feel the weight of this trailer pulling on the tractor here. It's just little details like that that I'm really enjoying. And you kind of had this in Farming Simulator as well, but I think it's a little more pronounced here. Like with Farming Simulator, you have to do a lot of modding to really bring out its potential. But here with Pure Farming 2018, it's like the developers thought things through, and they added a lot of functionality just the base game. That's what I like. Alright, so our green progress bar at the very top is filling up very quickly, because I need to store a certain amount of wheat before my time runs out. And I can't remember the exact amounts that I have to store, but looks like we're just about nearly completed. Which is good, because I think this video has ran out long enough. Like, you know, that's the thing about these simulator videos, is that because there's not much going on, because it's so simple, it's like I always wonder, like, how do people get entertained watching this? Like, to me, this is like a podcast. This is the equivalent to a podcast, except there just so happens to be things moving. But I mean, it's so slow and so laid back that it almost feels like a podcast in motion, basically. Because all I'll do is just going back and forth harvesting crops on a field. Like, that's not exciting. But yet, you have channels like Squirrel and Diggin, and I brought this up in my last video. You have channels like those, which have so many subscribers, and it's like, why? And I'm not hating on those guys because I'm subscribed to both of them. I love their videos. I love watching them. But I just have to wonder, how do you even get popular doing this? Like, why do people enjoy watching this? It's one thing for them to enjoy playing it. But to enjoy watching it, I find that so strange. So very intriguing. Like, how did this become a thing? Like, Let's Plays are one thing, but Let's Plays of simulators. It's like, what? Like, maybe montage videos I could understand, but this is a discussion video. I can't really... I could do montage. Like, I don't have to do the commentary. I'm doing what Ice Flames has done. I'm shamelessly lifting a formula here. I am very much aware that this format is exactly the same as Daggerwin and Squirrel. Because I figured, hey, if it works for those guys, let me try it. That's why I'm doing this. It also gives me an opportunity to talk about my feelings about this game, which is a lot easier than writing about it because I'm actually playing the game as I talk. I can't write and play at the same time, so that works. Yeah, it's just something so simple. So weird. You simulator fans are weird, man. But this should give you a good look at the game's mechanics, at the game's visuals, and just how the formula works. I'll try and finish up this feels. Alright, so this scenario is about to end. We did end up making it to the minimum objective for this scenario, which is just to store, I think it was a little bit over 60,000 pounds of wheat. So I think that's a job well done, and I think that this video has gone on long enough, but I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Please tell me what you think down below. Tell me what you think about this gameplay video in particular. I want to get some feedback, see what I can do to improve them, hopefully. B, I'd also like to get your thoughts on Pure Farming 2018 in comparison to that of FS17. And also, check us out over at gamingenthusiast.net, as well as our sister websites at PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox Enthusiast. And if you like listening to my stupid voice, you can go ahead and watch me over on Extreme Azure. That is my own channel. But honestly, guys, I want to thank you guys for watching. And like I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope to see you in the next one.